We want to give you another tweet that's coming in from Sarah Sanders. She has been sharing some information since this has rolled out. The letter now, she says this: a great day for America and for President real Donald Trump. After 2 years of wild anti-Trump hysteria, the president and his millions of supporters have been completely vindicated. We now bring in California Republican Congressman Nunes to talk about that. He has been in the middle of much of these investigations over the last couple of years. Congressman, thanks for being with us. What do you make and how do you respond to Democrats who say this thing is far from over? This is just one piece of the puzzle.
It's no different, Shannon, than what they've been saying for the last many, many years. So we've had 2.5 years of this, and I have to remind everybody, let's not forget, it is likely that this investigation started in late 2015, but for sure by early 2016 by Clinton operatives and likely people at the highest levels of the FBI and Department of Justice. Let that sink in a second. This investigation was started in late 2015, early 2016 by Clinton operatives and DOJ and FBI officials. So we have had 3.5 years of this. Our counterintelligence capabilities in this country were turned against a political party. The American people should be ticked at this. And thank God we finally have an Attorney General, and I congratulate Attorney General Barr today. We finally have the grown-ups back in charge to get the Department of Justice back on its feet and clean out these dirty cops.
Do you think, though, because we've heard a lot today about people saying there needs to be accountability for the people who were involved in launching this investigation, who fed the investigation, whether it was through the dirty dossier, through other conversations and back-channel relationships, you know, is there going to be any accountability or investigation into whether there was actually anything that was illegal or anything that was done wrong there? I mean, Democrats control the House now and much of the investigative power. Do you really expect there will be any answers from those folks?
Well, look, we have a lot of the work was done by the Republican Intelligence Committee from last year and the Judiciary Committee and Oversight Committees. So the House Intelligence Committee has been sitting on, preparing, waiting for the Mueller report to be finished to deliver to Attorney General Barr our concerns. So we will send that in the form of a criminal referral. But people have to remember the House of Representatives, okay, and Republicans don't control it anymore, but even if we did, you know, we don't have the ability or the powers to go out and arrest people. But we do have the ability to make criminal referrals. Now that Attorney General Barr's there, you know that the Inspector General has an ongoing investigation. So look, I think I look at it this way. Either there's going to be justice served on the people who perpetuated this hoax for 3.5, 4 years, or if there's not, you are going to have generations of Republicans and conservatives in this country who will not trust the Department of Justice or the FBI. I mean, that's basically the choice. So, you know, as you know, I've been very far out there in front on this. You know, I was the one who was very critical of Russia and the Obamas, you know, dealing with Vladimir Putin for many, many years. And to see them turn this around after they had botched everything with Putin, from phony reset buttons to trying to get along with Putin to doing nothing about Putin when he invaded Crimea, and turn that around and blame it on the Republican Party, and then turn it around and blame it on the House Republicans, you know, accusing us of crimes, and then we find out that these dirty people had corrupted our system and did things that, quite frankly, only happen in banana republics.
It's clear that there is serious partisan division on the Hill right now over this and so many other things. But now, as we know, and we've known for a while now, that there were Russian attempts to interfere with our elections, and lawmakers agree that that's ongoing, whether it's 2020, 2022, 2024. I mean, it's going to continue. Is there a place where there can be bipartisan agreement on concrete steps to fight back against that?
Well, look, let me remind you that Putin's been doing this for many, many years. Why do you think back in 2014 that I warned, as a member of the House Intelligence Committee, I warned the American public that if we didn't do something about Putin, that he was going to cause chaos in this country? That was in a public op-ed that I wrote. So we've been watching Putin for a very long time. The Obama administration, I'm not trying to go back on this, but they refused to spend money that we gave them. Look, I now see the Trump administration's doing all that they can to take this Russian threat seriously. But let's not forget, Vladimir Putin is an old Soviet KGB guy. He's going to mess in our elections and has been messing in our elections since he's been in office. So it's happened before. It's going to continue to happen. And that's why we have to have a strong Department of Justice, a strong FBI, and so that our counterintelligence capabilities are used to fight Russia, not target political campaigns, which is what happened.
Yeah, and I think that's something the American people desperately want to see and want to hear, is that these are apolitical institutions when they exercise their powers to engage in these kind of investigations. Congressman Nunes, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Shannon.
We bring in now Fox Politics editor Chris Stirewalt, editor of the Halftime Report, and so many other multitasking things.
Yes.
But now about the president.
Yes, ma'am.
So what to this point that Congressman King says there, this might actually be good for the Republicans. You see the president when he goes out and he rallies and he talks about witch hunt. And actually we have a poll on this, the USA Today Suffolk University poll, where people were asked, do you think the president's right that this is a witch hunt and that they come after you because of politics? Yes, 50%, no 47%, undecided 3%. How much is he now going to be able to hammer this on the campaign trail for the next 18 months to say, I was proven right?
Well,
on the issue of collusion,
yes,
there's no daylight.
Yes, but. And the yes, but here is, as Congressman King alluded to, it's good for the president to have these enemies. It's good for the president to be able to cast himself as a victim. Robert Mueller, we were told, was a lunatic, hell-bent on bringing down the president at any cost with his 12 or 16 angry Democrats who were rigging this whole thing. Well, it wasn't a witch hunt. And for the president, the problem is he needs a new villain. There has to be a new thing. Now, I think Nancy...
Oh, he's going to have them.
Yeah,
you and I both know they're going to keep investigating.
So to King's point, I think there's truth in that being able to maintain victim status, tell your base, we're at war, they're trying to, this is an existential threat to the presidency. So that in that way, Mueller helped him because there was this background music. A lot of it was negative, of course, but a lot of it was positive for the president as he was trying to keep Republicans together and keep them from breaking ranks.
But how bad would this have been today for him if there was left any shadow, any doubt? I mean, the language could not be more clear on this issue of collusion. And you know he's going to use that as a talking point.
Sure. Well, I mean, look, here's what I expect to happen over the next few days. The report has to come out. And to whatever degree the report is going to come out, and Barr has a choice. Slow walk it or get it out as expeditiously as he can with the redactions that he and Rosenstein and others at the Department of Justice are making now so that it fits within the law and doesn't disclose things that are sensitive topics. But they've got to get it out quickly. Everybody's got to be able to look it over and say, okay, now there will be things that aren't good for the president in there. There will be bad things in there, and Democrats will seize on that as they go through this voluminous document and find out the stuff. So that happens, number one. And then number two, the next thing that happens is, yes, you'll see an investigation here, and House Democrats are going to do that. But the most important thing that happened today was we went over Niagara. We are now in a different phase of the Trump presidency. We are now in a different phase of this moment in American history. And guess what that new phase is? 2020 all the way live. We are now in the real 2020 election because we couldn't get started. We still have a little wrapping up to do, but we couldn't really get started until this was done, and now it's done.
I want to play something from Congressman Jim Jordan, of course, one of the most conservative Republicans on the Hill, about Democrats, how much they love Mueller, and how they may be feeling today.
Go back to May of 2017. All the Democrats, all the Republicans in Washington, D.C. said we need a special counsel. And they got the guy they wanted. They got Bob Mueller, the guy who everyone said is right next to Jesus, can almost walk on water. They got the guy they wanted. He now has his report. It seems like they now think that this is not going to be the bombshell they thought it was going to be. So they're launching all kinds of new fishing expeditions.
Okay, so what about that? I mean, as you said, the president has said Mueller's a bad guy, or that he's put together this team that's unfair to me. Democrats said, no, he's great. We can't wait to hear the report and can't wait to hear from him. But now they don't seem very happy about the conclusions of the report.
Well, you know, and people in hell want ice water. It's tough out there. The truth is, Robert Mueller is an exemplary public servant. He has put together an astonishing career, unequaled in American law enforcement that I know of. And if you go back to his service in Vietnam and his Silver Star and his self-sacrifice and his concept, he has worked as a servant leader in his life. Jim Jordan doesn't like him. The other Republican populists don't like him because they're angry that Donald Trump was troubled and tarried by this. Robert Mueller lived up up to what he was supposed to do. He did it thoroughly, he did it fairly, I'm sure, and he got through this process, and he executed, at age 70 whatever, executed one last really noble service to his country, which is giving us some answers to some very important questions.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I think, and as Barr has talked about all along, he wants to get this out as quickly as possible, as much as he can, without disclosing classified information, or those grand jury information, that kind of thing. So we'll stand by now.
It's going to be fun.
That's our next standby. All right. Good to see you, Chris.
You bet.
Thanks.